Hi guys, I'm back with another video, but unfortunately this one's gonna be more negative because you know that video a little bit back where I was ranting about key cards? Yeah, that one. The thing is, key cards are actually getting worse, and honestly I am not liking it one bit. Unfortunately, to this day I don't really know who to blame. Is it the third-party devs? Is it Nintendo? And honestly it doesn't really matter. The thing that matters though is the future for physical gaming as a whole and how nefarious these key cards really are. I somehow predicted this with my last video, saying that it'll probably get worse, and here we are again with another video about how key cards are ruining physical media and physical gaming as a whole. But it's not all negative. There are glimmers of hope here and there, and a lot of consumers like myself just don't really want to support that practice. But that being said, let's go over the bad news when it comes to gaming key cards. If you end up loving this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you like content like this. It's kind of alarming the way things are going at this point when it comes to gaming key cards, with Nintendo walking on eggshells when it comes to answering anything related about key cards, or third-party developers who some of them are saying it's the best thing to happen in gaming while others do not like it. And I feel like the gaming industry is not really being transparent when it comes to the topic of key cards. One thing I forgot to mention in my first video is that a lot of these publishers are still making Switch 1 games too. But one problem that I really didn't see coming is that some developers or publishers don't give the ability to upgrade from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. For example, Raida Kuzunoa. That game did not come with the Switch 1 to Switch 2 upgrade. And that's where the lack of transparency becomes a problem. Because a lot of people like me were thinking, alright, I'll get the Switch 1 copy and then upgrade it to the Switch 2 copy. But some of these publishers or developers don't even offer that. And I hate how forced this feels. And they make it really obvious that they want you to get the Switch 2 version game key card, or not getting the upgrades and getting the Switch 1 version. And it's extra diabolical when you take into account that a lot of PlayStation 4 games have the upgrade pass to the PlayStation 5 either for free or they charge it. But I'm not going to stop at that comparison, because even on the Switch 2 there were games that had an upgrade pass either for free or they had to charge you for it. But either way, it was there. So it's mind-boggling that some of these devs just opt out for that. Like, they want you to buy their game, but they also want you to be attached to the online, and they also want you to be all digital. So a good way to do that is saying, here's a digital game but in a physical box. And at that case, you're just wasting plastic. It's on par with games that have a case and a download code inside. There is no reason to do that. As of now, I have a total of 3 Switch 2 games. Now these are not key cards, these are full on-cart games, and I just didn't really think the Switch 2 will launch like this. I thought I would have more games, but whatever. I mean, here they are: Cyberpunk, Donkey Kong, and Guardians of Ozima. Marvelous and CD Projekt Red deserve all the credit because they put all the games on the cart. With Donkey Kong, it's a different story because Nintendo is not doing game key cards for the first party games, which is a win, I guess. I say I guess because I play most of my third-party games on my Switch, so it doesn't really benefit me overall. And it's kind of funny because I did a Switch collection tour and it was called my last Switch collection because the Switch 1 was not going to be a thing anymore. But now looking back at it, I probably shouldn't have called it that. And I honestly don't mind paying a small fee to upgrade it, but they don't really give us the option anymore with some games, and I fear that it's going to be a ongoing trend. Now Sony and Microsoft have their own things going on that I don't agree with, but at least they made the transitions from each console more smoothly, whereas Nintendo is making it more harder than it should be. Like, seriously, I've seen some people on Twitter say this is the best transition of any console generation, and I'm just like, are we talking about the Switch 2? Are you sure about that, bro? Are you sure about that? And it honestly makes the Switch 2 feel like a very controversial console because there's so much controversy when it comes to it. And I hate that because I think the Switch 2 is honestly a really good console. It upgraded on the things that I wanted to upgrade. It's powerful, it's sleek, it's nice, but it's just bogged down by all these controversies that Nintendo just wanted to bestow upon it, and it's making the release of the Switch Switch 2, not as great. I'm not gonna say they didn't sell any consoles, obviously they did. The Switch 2 is selling like hotcakes, but I can't really say the same about the games. And that list really keeps growing, which is scary. Games like No Sleep for Kaname Dante, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 Remake, Raidou Remastered, Trails Beyond the Horizon, Sudoku 1 and 2 HD, and those are the ones I just named. There's probably way more that I didn't name, and this frustrates me so bad. And the companies are just making excuses at this point as to why they don't support it. Some don't even make sense. Now, word on the street is that the two versions are two different builds because one is for Switch 1 and one is for Switch 2, and because of that, they can't upgrade a lot of the Switch 1 versions to the Switch 2. And while there could be some truth into that, I'm not a game dev, it's just weird how they bring out that excuse. Games like Fantasy Life, Guardians of Azuma, and the upcoming titles such as Pokemon Legends AZ, Story of Season, both have a Switch 1 copy and a Switch 2. And you could also upgrade the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. Granted, they'll probably be like $5 or $10, but that's the price of a Switch 2 game. If those games can do it, why can't the other games do it too? But what makes the keycard situation even more frustrating is that companies like NIS America are offering weak excuses for why they use them in the first place. Nintendo Life recently did an interview about the use of keycards on the Switch 2, like Trails Beyond the Horizon. Their response was essentially, we decided to release this title as a game keycard on the Nintendo Switch 2 as we believed it was the most beneficial option for our consumers. At first, I thought that was probably a translation error, but it's not. That's literally the excuse he gave, which really does not make sense. And it screams corporate talk, but even then, it still doesn't really make sense. How does it benefit the consumers? Can you elaborate on that? But no, he didn't elaborate on that. And this is doubly damning because NIS as a developer and publisher has a lot of consumers that are pro physical gaming. Like, that is why I buy NIS games really early, because their physical copies tend to go out fast. But let me try to understand all this. How is it beneficial that you have a game that's charged $70 on the Switch 2 version that is a key card? I'm sorry, if your game is $70 full price, do what these games did and put your game on the damn cartridge. And it's more insulting when you realize that all the other versions on different platforms are $60. I can't make this stuff up. I really can't. I get so sad. I get really sad talking about this. This is why I'm wearing all black. I'm mourning for the loss of physical media because, oh my god, it is just depressing. Editing Mandy here, fresh off the Nintendo Partner Direct. We got a lot of new announcements, but we got a lot of bad news, especially when it comes to key cards, of course. So essentially, Octopath Traveler 0, Pac-Man World 2, and even Persona 3 Reload are all getting the key code treatment. And this is especially worse for Persona 3 because not only is it a keycard version, rumors are that they're going to charge full price and no DLC included. That means episode Aegis is not there. Good thing I got this for the PlayStation 5. Now I do understand that companies want to make money because in turn that money makes for new games. But I feel like it's been blatantly greedy for some reason nowadays. Alrighty, that is Editing Mandy signing off. Peace. Let me calm down a bit and let's talk about some actual good news when it comes to gaming keycards. Because there are glimmers of hope. The one thing is that the new Sega Sonic Racing game is actually having a full-on Switch 2 copy and not a game keycard, which is big news to all the physical lovers out there. Because essentially, the fact that they're not going for a keycard version is honestly hopeful. Now, it could be because it's a newer game and they don't want the bad press, or they might have a change of heart, which I doubt that. It's probably because money. But anyway, a win is a win. So hopefully that decision that Sega made would kind of set a precedent, especially when it comes to their big hitters like Persona, Metaphor if it ever comes to the Switch 2, Yakuza, and many other IPs. And yeah, it might cost more, but in the long run, I think it would do better. In other good news, remember how NIS mentioned how key cards were quote-unquote beneficial to the consumers? Well, it turns out that if you check their website, which has a stock meter when it comes to their physical stuff, which is an indicator that a lot of consumers like their physical media. I don't know how obvious it has to be. But if you look at the stock meter, you will see that a lot of their game keycard products did not sell so well, while the PlayStation 5 and 4 versions are all sold out. So while it isn't good news in the same sense as the Sonic one, it's still leaning towards a lot of people are not liking game keycards. I do have to admit, I don't really know a solution to this problem. I was arguing with somebody, I forgot who, but essentially he said, what would your solution to this whole keycard thing be? And I honestly had to think about that because it's kind of a hard decision. But honestly, I feel like the more beneficial for everybody is having a keycard version if you want to, but also having a Switch 1 version that you could upgrade. I feel like that would be the great compromise. But a lot of these companies are forcing you to choose Switch 1 or Switch 2. And I do know that a lot of people don't mind keycards, and if you're someone who buys keycards, I'm not gonna be like nasty to you, of course not. That's your opinion and you're perfectly valid for that, but I feel like I should be valid in my opinion too. You don't have to be toxic and mean to get your point across. Now, I am a Nintendo fan and I still say that because I am. I just want to be hyped about a game and not pray to the gaming gods that it's not a keycard. I just want to be excited. So in conclusion, I just wanted to get this stuff off my chest, and I really hate how gaming keycards have officially been getting worse, but we did receive some good news and some wins when it comes to gaming keycards. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, hit that like button, I would appreciate it. And if you like the videos on my channel, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 10K and I hope we can do it. I hope you guys have a fantastic, wonderful day, and as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.